Woof.
Okay. This looks a little bit different, but I think it still gets the point across. Okay, we'll go with this. We'll go with this. So, the new devblog that came out, actually it came out yesterday, on November the 12th, today being the 13th, about a new line of European destroyers. Now, why we need more European destroyers, beyond me. But in any case, it has been my opinion for a while, and this is a little bit off course here, but I realized that World of Warships as a game, and for the amount of time that it's been out, is past the normal time for most games to survive. And maybe there's the reason for what I'm about to talk about. But when I first started playing the game, the players were not overwhelmed with things. You didn't have 14 things going on at one time. You would have you'd have clan battles, then you'd have a ranked season, and then in between there somewhere you'd have a ship line released, and they might release a ship line 2-3 times a year at most. And now it's like we're learning about a new ship line like every couple weeks. To me, they're throwing too much stuff out there too fast. It seems like they're trying to get it all in under the gun before the game finally tanks and they kill it, and they can't make any more money on it. I don't know, but it's just something that has bothered me for a while that I thought I would say something about there. In any case, so according to this, if you look at this dev blog, this is a second branch of European destroyers added to the game in one of the future updates, and they're ready to share the first details. So, the ships of this new branch will represent such countries as Turkey, Norway, Greece, Yugoslavia, and Poland. It's currently in develop, so the models are still not finalized, and the gameplay concept of the branch may change during testing, which is planned to begin the first half of 2023. So sometime in the first 6 months of 2023. Is it just me, or does it seem like they're putting out the news or information for the new lines a lot sooner? In other words, when they barely even have any models to show us. Seemed like they had a lot more of their crap together in the past before they put out that information. Maybe it's just me, but it sure seems like it. So we got all of these countries that are going to be represented. That's going to be interesting. I'm wondering if this is going to be another repeat of the Pan American ships, where we get all these bullshit statements about, well, we could assume this, and this could have happened if this might have happened and that other thing happened. I hope we don't get that here, but we'll see. We will see. So going on, they're saying in the current concept, these newcomers are gunboat destroyers equipped with smoke generator and starting at tier 8 with the surveillance radar consumable. Now, wait a minute. Do they mean that these are going to have smoke and radar, or that they're going to have the ability to choose between them, kind of like the Pan-Asian line? Because if these have smoke and radar, that is going to be gigantic bullshit, and I hope that gets changed in development. Okay, apart from that, all the ships in the branch are equipped with engine boost. Main battery guns of the new European destroyers will have good damage per salvo, and starting from tier 7, flat shell ballistics, which allows for comfortable gunplay at long ranges. So, okay. So kind of a real Russian railgun type thing. We'll see. The torpedoes used by the ships of the branch have high speed. That kind of fits in the flavor. But there's a small number per salvo. And unlike the first branch of European destroyers, they have higher damage but lower range. Now, it'll be interesting to see what lower range means. If Ostergotland has 13.5, does that mean that these ships are going to have like 10 or 11? I mean, what's lower range? So we definitely need to see what that really is. And the torpedoes can be set to fan out in the standard, wide, and narrow spreads. Okay. So that's interesting. You're going to get higher damage torpedoes, but less of them. You're going to maintain the high speed, but get less number of higher damage torpedoes with shorter range. Okay. Got it. Starting from Tier 7, these destroyers have good speed. And starting from Tier 8, they have a large hit point pool. However, they don't have the strongest AA and their concealment's mediocre. Okay. So, yeah. I don't even know what to comment on about that. I mean, don't have the strongest AA, does it really matter? That's the first thing on that one. But anyway, so let's go down and look. And boy, yeah, whenever they say this is early in the phase, they're not kidding, because these model, or at least this model, I don't know what the others are going to look like, but this is the first time I've looked through this in detail. Wow. That is definitely an early render on that. So Tier 5, Muavenet. I don't know if that's the correct way to pronounce that. Muavenet? I don't know. One of the 4 destroyers ordered by Turkey from Great Britain in 1939, laid down with the design of British I-class destroyers. She was purchased by the British Royal Navy when the Second World War broke out, and renamed HMS Inconstant. That's an interesting name. That's almost like incontinent. But anyway, the destroyer survived the war, and in 1946 was returned to the Turkish Navy, where she served under her original name, Muavenet, until 1960. Okay, so that's a real ship. Good for them. Now, granted, it didn't fight in the war in the Turkish Navy, but still, at least it's a real ship. European destroyer Stored, Tier 6. Isn't this a historical ship? A British S-class destroyer. This should be about like the Tier 6 British DD. That entered service in 1943, was transferred to the Norwegian Navy in exile, who fought during World War II as part of the British Royal Navy. She survived the entire war and then was formally purchased by Norway, where she served until 1959. Now, bear with me a second, because I think this ship is historical. I think it participated in like a major battle or skirmish against some of the German ships, like maybe Eisenhower or Scharnhorst or something like that. Let me look at this. This is the Stored. Let me see if I can find anything. HNOMS Stored. Okay, this is what I was talking about. So let's bring this over here where you can see this. So I'm looking at Wikipedia now. So she was laid down as HMS Success, transferred to the Norwegians for completion, renamed the HNOMS Stored, missioned August 26, 43. This command, blah, blah. Played an important role in the Battle of North Cape, sinking of the German battleship Scharnhorst. Stored went in as close as 400 yards to the Scharnhorst before firing torpedoes. Interesting. So, and she got kudos from Admiral Fraser and from the commanding officer of the Duke of York. That's pretty gigantic cojones there to get within, in a tin can, to get within 400 yards of a freaking Scharnhorst. Yeah, that is a pretty impressive feat of bravado, is all I can say. So yeah, that's what I was wanting to see. So I'm correct. I did remember the name of that as being something historical in one of the battles in that area. So that's cool. They're not saying anything about it here, but hey, it's okay. Maybe they'll flesh this out more in the upcoming information. So, European destroyer Grom, Tier 7. Boy, that is a plain Jane model right there. Good gracious. Okay. Single, double, double. Maybe like Bliskovica? Let's look and see. The lead ship in a series of 2 Grom-class destroyers, her sister ship being Bliskovica. And if I'm pronouncing that wrong, it's because I'm using the southern pronunciation, as I always say. Designed in Great Britain, built under Polish order at a British shipyard. J. Samuel White Company, 1935-37. Participated in World War II, taking part in the Norwegian campaign near Narvik. She was sunk on May 4th, 1940, off the coast of Norway as a result of bombing by German planes. Okay. So bombed by the Germans. All right. European destroyer Split. Tier 8. Now that sounds, when you say European destroyer Split, it sounds like you're talking about the game and you've got a destroyer split, a line split. Let's see what this looks like. 5 guns. Not really 100% sure what this might look like. A destroyer leader of the Yugoslav Navy lay down at a British-owned shipyard in Split. Created by a French company based on the Le Fantasque class destroyer. When it entered World War II in 1941, the unfinished ship was seized by the Italians. Work on the destroyer was finished and it was put into service only in 1958, according to a modified design with the help of the United States and Great Britain. Ship served until 1980. Our game shows Split as she would have looked if completed. Okay, here we go. How she would have looked if completed by 1941. So I can only hope that there's blueprints or something that they're saying that, and that would at least be excusable to an extent to say, well, here's the blueprint and the plan was to be completed by then, but it wasn't because of this circumstance. So if it would have been completed, this is what it should have looked like. And that, I can kind of let that kind of reasoning slide, but I don't see anything that says anything about a blueprint, so I don't know. Okay, but we're touching the BS now. We're not fully in it, but we're definitely touching it. European destroyer Lambros Katsonis, Tier 9, very early stage of modeling, so they don't even have a freaking model to give us on this one. Okay. During development, let's see this. During development of the E-class cruiser designs, what the hell? Various options were considered in Great Britain. They were seen as a continuation of the scout idea. Fast fleet scouts, counter to destroyers. In the end, larger displacement was chosen, and the smaller option remained unrealized. We completed this lighter design considering upgrades that were available both before and after World War II. Okay, so I'm assuming we completed means Warship decided this is what we think it should look like. So they reached back, pulled this ship out of their ass, and here we have it. That's what that means. The ship was also reclassified as a destroyer leader, since light scout cruisers with small displacement could well be considered destroyers, especially by World War II standards. A variant of post-war modernization implied a significant strengthening of AA gunnery with automatic 76mm guns of American design. What the heck? Installed on light cruisers of the Worcester class. Here comes the Worcester creeping its way back into this thing. I think we had enough Worcester after the Pan-American thing. As well as the fire control system for these mounts. The main battery consists of the same guns used on battlecruiser Hood as secondaries. 640 millimeter guns in single gun shielded mounts. So basically they got Hood secondaries and Worcester AA guns. Oh, here we go again. Look at this. The Greek Navy might have received such a ship from the turn of the 1920s and 30s, yet upgraded during World War II from Britain just after the war. So not only had the Greek Navy might have received such a ship, that they put American AA guns and British battlecruiser secondaries on. They might have received it from Britain. In fact, the British at the time transferred about 10 escort destroyers to Greece, among other aid. I can at least give them that one, if they transferred a bunch of escort destroyers. But this is a destroyer leader, so who's to say that they would have just transferred a destroyer leader? The ship is named after Lambros Katsonis, a Greek privateer from second half of the 18th century, national hero of Greece and a fighter for its independence. This name is traditional for ships of the Greek Navy. In total, there were 4 ships bearing this name: a light cruiser built in Great Britain before World War I, then 3 submarines. So okay, so we got our first might have received, and then we decided what this design would look like. We decided what it would look like when it was completed. Okay. Yeah, we're in the bullshit now, most definitely. Okay, we're up to the Tier 10 now. European destroyer Gdansk, Tier 10. You know, very basic model. Does this look like? I can't decide what this looks like. I don't think that's daring guns. I think that's daring guns. Let's look and see what this is. Oh my gosh, based on the design of the French Mogador. Now, wait a second. So are you telling me that you're going to take the friggin' Mogador and give it smoke and damn radar potentially? I don't even want to think about that combination. That's going to be just mega stupid. Historically, French shipyards built 2 Burza-class destroyers for the Polish Navy and competed to win the contract to construct new destroyers for Poland in the mid-1930s, ultimately losing to Great Britain, who as a result built the Grom and Bliskovika. This ship could have also been built in France at the request of Poland and have been completed with the original armament composition by about 1939-40. So, well, it could have been built in France. I mean, Poland could have requested it that France build it. After France was defeated, the ship would have been transferred to Great Britain, remaining unfinished until the end of the war, and afterwards transferred to Poland. There she would have been commissioned by the mid-1950s. And wow, we're getting, like, this is like peeling back an onion here. We're getting, I mean, like, into the minutia of the bullshit now. Wow, I mean, this is even hard to read. This, before we were reading, when we read the Pan American stuff, we were reading comedy. Now I think we're reading literally a work of fiction, completely and totally. Holy cow. So let me read that again. So they're saying, number one, this ship could have been built in France. Could have. After France was defeated, it would have been transferred to Great Britain unfinished until the end of the war, and then afterwards transferred to Poland. Really? I mean, would Great Britain have done that? And there would have been commissioned by the mid-1950s and modernized to accommodate Soviet torpedo and ASW armament. Okay, as well as AA systems. Historically, Britain in 1947 returned the destroyer Bliskovika to the Polish People's Republic. which was repaired and re-equipped with Soviet armament. So that's what they're basing this on, to say, well, they did this to the Bliskavika, so this ship they could have done the same thing to. Okay, we're pretty far out there. The naming of warships after cities was traditional for Polish People's Republic Navy. The largest ships were consistently called Warzawa. The backbone of the Navy's strike power, 13 Project 205 missile boats were named coastal cities, including Gdansk. Since it's the largest Polish port and city on the Baltic coast, one of the main cities of the country in general, as well as a historical symbol of the struggle for Poland's access to the sea, we decided to name the ship after it. Okay. Well, you know, things didn't look too bad till we got down to those last couple of ships. Yeah, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. We actually got one historical ship here in the store. That's pretty cool. I'm surprised with that being a historical ship that they wouldn't like save that out for a like for a premium, like not put it in the tech tree and do it as a premium, so they could get, you know, people to buy that, because this is a Norwegian ship. So I know there's a big player base in Norway that would probably buy this, or at least some of them would. So okay, there you have it. Details for the next new line of, at least not as large of an amount of bullshit as the Pan American line, but still it had its moments. We're just more out of the comedy realm of writing and into the fiction now, so that's all I can say. But interesting nonetheless. If they let these things go through with both smoke and radar usable at the same time, I will only say that will be a gigantic mistake. And I hope that testing shows that no, we can't have them, but we can't release a whole line of USS Blacks, you know, or at least several of them. We just can't have that at tier 8, 9, and 10. We have to make that. You got to select one or the other. Like pick one. Because wow, I don't know what else to say about that. But that's you know, I'm just very interested to see how they put a lot of this stuff together. Where they talking about the torpedoes having higher damage. They've got maintain the same kind of speeds, but having higher damage and shorter range. Well, I want to know what shorter range is. Those type things. So it will remain to be seen. We'll see what happens as it shakes out, and we get more of these dev blogs talking about when these go into testing and the changes that they've made as a result of testing. Hopefully a couple of them will be for the best. But that's it. That's all for the DevBlog from November 12th, talking about the proposed new European DD line, second branch. So that's it. Let's go and play some. Thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to see notifications of future videos, just ring the bell. Until next time, Tater Dawg says, woof.